योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Welcome to Standard Costing Introduction. Hello friends, I am Professor Srenik Sir. Today in this session, I will discuss the basics of standard costing. This will include meaning, advantages and limitations of standard costing, the types of standards, prerequisites of standard costing, establishing standards and its applications is also covered in this session. It also includes the comparison between standard cost and estimated cost. The comparison between standard cost with budgetary control too has been covered in this session. Now, let us start with introduction. Cost may be divided into two main categories, number 1 historical cost and number 2 predetermined cost. Historical cost are the actual cost which can be determined only after they are incurred. It cannot be used for the cost control purposes as it does not help management to take corrective action when needed, nor it provides any yardstick against which efficiency can be measured. Such limitations encouraged the development of a new costing approach, that is predetermined cost. It helps management to know cost before production begins and control inefficiency and waste at the source. Predetermined cost, when ascertained on a scientific basis, it results in the standard cost. It is used in standard costing, which is a special technique to control cost and can be used in conjunction with any other system. Meaning of standard cost. The word standard means a norm or criterion. Hence, a standard cost is one against which one can measure an actual cost to ascertain how much actual cost differ from standard. CIMA has defined standard cost as a predetermined calculation of how much cost should be under specified working conditions. It is built up from an assessment of the value of cost elements and correlated technical specifications and qualifications of materials, labor and other costs to the prices and or wage rates expected to apply during the period in which the standard cost is intended to be used. Its main purpose is to provide basis for control through variances accounting for the valuation of stock and work in progress and in some cases for fixing selling prices. Thus, standard cost is what the cost should be as distinct from what the cost has been in the past. Meaning of standard costing. CIMA has defined standard costing as the preparation and the use of standard costs, their comparison with actual cost and analysis of variances to their causes and points of incidences. Thus, in short, it is the process of setting the standard, comparing with the actual and finding out the deviations if any and analyzing the deviations based on the principles of management by exception, taking the corrective action to minimize the deviations in future is known as standard costing. Standard costs and estimated cost comparison. Both standard costs and estimated cost are predetermined cost computed in advance of production, but their objectives are normally different. The differences between the two can be identified on the 5 parameters. Number 1, standard cost aims at what the cost should be, whereas estimated cost is an assessment of what the cost will be. Number 2, standard costs are planned costs which are determined on a scientific basis after taking into account certain level of efficiency, whereas estimated costs are based on the average of the past figures, taking into consideration anticipated changes in future. Number 3, in standard costing system, standard costs are usually incorporated into the accounts from which variances of actual from standards are ascertained, whereas estimated costs are used as statistical data for comparing with actual figures. Such costs are not entered in the books of accounts. Number 4. Standard costs are meant to be used for a concern operating on a standard costing system, whereas estimated cost may be used in any concern operating on a historical cost system. Number 5. Standard costs serve the purpose of cost control, whereas estimated costs do not serve the purpose of cost control. Such costs serve other purposes like quoting selling price of new products, decision to buy or manufacture, etc. Now, let us come to a difference between standard costing and budgetary control. Both have common objectives of cost control by establishing predetermined targets. The actual performance are measured and compared with predetermined targets for control purposes. Both the techniques are of importance in the respective fields and are complementary to each other. The points of similarity. Number 1. The establishment of predetermined targets of performance. Number 2. The measurement of actual performance. Number 3. The comparison of actual performance with predetermined targets. Number 4. The analysis of variances between the actual and the standard performance. Number 5. To take corrective measures wherever necessary. Now, let us see the points of differences. Number 1. Standard costs are developed mainly for the manufacturing function and sometimes for other functions, whereas budgets are compiled for different functions of the business such as sales, purchases, production, cash, capital expenditure, research and development, etc. Number 2. Standard costing is intensive in application as its call for detailed analysis of variances, whereas budgetary control is extensive in nature and the degree of analysis tends to be much less than in standard costing. Number 3. In standard costing, variances are usually revealed through accounts, whereas in budgetary control, variances are normally not revealed through accounts and control is exercised by statistically putting budgets and actuals side by side. Number 4. Standard cost represent realistic yardsticks and are therefore more useful for controlling and reducing cost, whereas budgets usually represent an upper limit on spending without considering the effectiveness of the expenditure in terms for output. Number 5. Standard costs are usually established after considering such vital matters as production capacity, methods employed and other factors which require attention when determining an acceptable level of efficiency, whereas budgets may be based on previous year's cost without any attention being paid to efficiency. Number 6. Standard cost is a projection of cost accounts, whereas budget is a projection of financial accounts. Now, let us come to objectives of standard costing. Standard cost is a planned cost for a unit of product, component or service produced in a period. Standard costing is introduced primarily to ascertain the efficiency of cost performance. Accordingly, standard costing is a tool or technique of cost control. Cost variances are used to stimulate improved performance. It does not, however, mean by this that standard costing is intended to control costs and beyond this. It does not achieve anything else. In fact, the SEMA official terminology, while defining the term standard cost, mentions other objectives of standard costing: A. Performance measurement, B. Control, C. Stock valuation, D. Establishing selling prices. Besides, these objectives of standard costing mentioned may be made of E. Profit planning and decision making, F. Basis for estimating, G. Assisting establishments of budgets, H. To motivate operating and managerial personnel in direction of improved efficiency, I. Whether the best possible use is made of raw materials and the level of scrap is reasonable, J. Whether the right type of labor is used and labor time is fully utilized, K. Whether the machines have been operated at efficient paces to produce more economically, L. Whether the flow of production has been smooth without any hold ups, M. Whether right type of plant and equipments are used, and N, whether production facilities have been idle for the minimum of time. Now, let us come to the prerequisites of standard costing. The operation of standard costing demands the prerequisites which may be considered to be the steps involved in its application and operation. Number 1, sound organization structure with well defined authority relationships. Number 2, sound technical and engineering studies, known production methods, work study and work measurement, material specifications and wage and material price projections. Number 3, classification of accounts, coding of income and expenses to facilitate speedy collection and analysis. Number 4, determination of the type of standard to be used. Number 5, fixation of standards for each element of cost. Number 6, determination of standard cost for each product. Number 7, recording of actual cost incurred. Number 8, comparison of actual cost with the predetermined standard to ascertain the deviations. Number 9, investigation into the reasons and analyzing variances. Number 10, reporting of significant adverse variances. Number 11, action by management to ensure that adverse variances are not repeated. Number 12, revision of the standard if necessary. Now, applicability of standard costing. The application of standard costing requires certain conditions to be fulfilled. These are: A sufficient volume of standard products or components to be produced. B, methods, operations and processes should be capable of being standardized. C, a sufficient number of costs should be capable of being controlled. Industries producing standardized products which are repetitive in nature, that is, industries using process costing method, fulfill all the above conditions, and thus the system can be used to the best advantage in such industries such as fertilizers, cement, bakers, sugar, etc. Now, we move to the advantages of standard costing. Standards within a standard costing system reflect future conditions of efficiency. The object of standard costing is to plan operations systematically in advance in order to improve processes and methods. The main advantages are listed below. Number 1, motivational effect. Motivational and control are the two sides of the same coin. If standards are set on optimal performance level, the system may have great motivational effect on the employees. They try to accomplish standards, rather surpass them. Number 2, improved management control. The variance analysis allows the feedback of the key information. Variances serve as red flags to alert management to the problems that have developed. Number 3, management by exception. Standard costing is the perfect example of the implementation of the principle of management by exception. Variances computed under standard costing serve as pointer to cost areas where management attention should be focused. Only significant deviations from the performance standards are brought to management attention. All other cases that are processing according to plan are dealt with by a set of instructions and delegation of authority. Number 4, cost reduction. Standard costing makes all the cost conscious, which helps the management in cost reduction. Number 5, pricing decisions. Standard cost can provide a valuable aid to management in determining prices and formulating policies. However, great care must be taken in this area. Number 6, builds budgets. Once standards are set for various elements of cost, budgets can easily be prepared. Yardsticks in the form of standards provide for tighter and more effective budgets. They in fact become the building blocks for budgets. Number 7, facilitates implementation of incentive scheme. Having the standards set for various operations, it enables management to determine whether performance of particular employees is above or below standard. It is now easy to grant reward to employees whose performance has been above standard. Number 8, facilitates inventory valuation. A complete standard cost file by parts and operates simplifies valuation of raw materials, work in progress and finished goods inventories. The use of standard values establishes the influences of material cost. Now, let us come to the limitations of standard costing. Number 1, expensive. The cost of setting up, maintaining and operating a standard cost system are generally very high. Very often standards have to be revised and new standards fixed involving larger cost. Thus, small firms find it expensive to operate standard costing system. Number 2, difficult to determine standard cost. It is always difficult to determine precise standard cost in a given situation which will coincide with actual cost when operations are over. Standard costs are partly determined on the basis of past experience and partly cost projections based on approximation or advanced statistical techniques. Thus, uncertainties are around standards. The real challenge therefore is to establish precise level of achievement that needs to be embodied in a standard in order to evoke the standard response. Number 3, problem of fixed cost per unit. Since standard costing is a full absorption costing, it requires fixed cost to be expressed as unit amount. This in turn requires fixing an overhead absorption rate based on expected level of capacity utilization. However, it is possible only if expected capacity level coincides with the capacity level required for the output actually produced. The fixed overhead component must therefore be viewed more cautiously than variable component. Number 4, difficult to implement in some industries. The industrial units that are in the production of non-standardized products and the jobs find it unsuitable and costly to operate on standard costing. They frequently have to change the specifications according to customers' requirements. Number 5, opposition from employees. If standard costs are not well designed and administered, employees might consider them as pressure tactics to extract last ounce of their blood. They might be taken as oppressive measures and hence deterrent to motivation. Now, let us come to types of standards. Number 1, basic standard. This is a standard which is established for use unaltered for an indefinite period of time. Thus, basic standards are established and operated without revision for a number of years. It is similar to an index number against which all later results are measured. Variances from basic standards show trends of deviations of the actual cost. However, basic standards are of no practical utility from the viewpoint of cost control and may be suitable for those items of cost which are fixed in nature such as rent, managerial salaries, etc. Number 2, current standard. Such standards remain in operation for a limited period and are related to current conditions. These standards are revised at regular intervals. Number 3, ideal standard. This is a theoretical standard which is rather not practicable to attain. It presupposes that the performance of man, materials and machines is perfect and thus makes no allowance for loss of time, accident, machine breakdowns, wastages of material and any other type of waste or loss. This ideal is obviously unrealistic and unattainable. Such standards have the advantage of establishing a goal which, though not attainable in practice, is always aimed at. It does not provide a target or incentive to employees. The main limitation of such standards is that they show adverse variances as a permanent feature which discourages the employees. Moreover, no serious attention is given to costing reports of such variances. Number 4, expected standard or practical standard. This is a standard which may be anticipated to be attained during a future period. Such standards are based on expected performance after making a reasonable allowance for unavoidable losses and other inevitable lapses from perfect efficiency. Thus, known causes of inefficiency that can be anticipated, that is machine breakdown, idle time, etc. is allowed for. In this way, expected standards are more meaningful and realistic. Number 5, normal standard. This is known as past performance standard because it is based on the average performance in the past. The aim of such a standard may be to eliminate the variances in the cost which arise out of trade cycle. Although this is an easy way of calculating standards, it should be avoided as it tends to take the inefficiencies of the past and enshrine them as standards for the future. It is better not to be influenced by the past in setting standards, but to take a new look at methods of working and performance which should be attained. Thus, the usefulness of such standards for purposes of cost control is limited. Now, let us come to establishing standards. Setting of standards involves a considerable amount of preparatory work. Standards are not set by guesswork. These are determined by people with the necessary technical knowledge, especially the engineering and accounting. Everything connected with the organization needs to be sufficiently studied so that standards are fair, reasonable and correct. Records have to be made of the type and quality of material to be stocked and used in the product, the sequence of operations in the manufacture and the equipment and machinery to be used. There are several ways to estimate standards for prices and quantities needed to produce a product. The most common are engineering methods and managerial estimates. The engineering or design specifications are analyzed by engineers to determine what kind of material is needed, how much of it and which production methods are necessary to produce the product. Managerial estimates rely on judgment of the managers to determine quantities of input needed to produce a unique product based on experience and knowledge of the production process. Standards for materials. The cost of materials which are used in a manufacturing product is determined by two basic factors: price paid for materials and the quantity used in production. Accordingly, two standards must be developed for material cost. Number 1, a material price standard. Number 2, a material quantity or usage standard. The objectives of fixing price standards are: number 1, to measure the efficiency of the purchase department. Number 2, to measure the effect of price increase or decreases on company's profits. Standard prices of all materials consumed should be set for each product after allowing for the following: number 1, stock in hand. Number 2, the possibility of price fluctuations. Standard material prices should reflect current market prices. Number 3, the extent of contracts already placed. Material usage standards can generally be developed from standard material specifications prepared by the engineering department. The standard quantity should also provide for yield and loss factors, that is allowance for wastage, spoilage, seepage, evaporation, leakage, etc. The cost and purchase department should work together in establishing standard cost for all materials. Now, come to the standards for labor. The cost of labor is determined by the rate at which wages are paid and the time for which they are paid. Accordingly, two standards are usually established for labor cost. Number 1, a wage rate standard. Number 2, a time or efficiency standard. Labor rates are based on the company wage payment system. In many plants, the standard is based on rates established in collective bargaining agreements. Hourly wages, piece rates and different bonus plans are used in various operations. Establishing of time standards require a detailed study of manufacturing operations. Labor efficiency standards are usually fixed by industrial engineers using time and motion studies. Time factors for acceptable levels of fatigue, personal needs and delays beyond the control of workers are studied and included in the standards. Standards for overheads. The determination of standard rates for recovery of factory overheads is a difficult process. The first step in the determination of standards for factory overhead is the preparation of factory overheads budget. It is prepared after taking into consideration the number of shifts, time spent and distinct class of operating departments, production department and service department. It must be remembered that the most important factor in arriving at such estimates is the capacity level at which these estimates are made. The estimate will probably be based on the normal capacity to manufacture. The second step is the determination of overheads rate. It must be realistic and relevant because overheads would be absorbed into product cost on the basis of this rate. Now, variance analysis. Literally, a variance means an exception or deviation. A variance denotes the difference between standard or predetermined cost of an object and its actual cost. It is resultant figure when the actual cost is compared against the expected cost. Variances in fact are financial performance gaps, difference between benchmarks and actual cost. The object of variance is to detect the operating problems and report them so that the corrective action may be taken where possible. Variances provide feedback information for management control. They serve as red flags to alert management. Requirements of good variance analysis. Number 1, standards must be accurate. Number 2, it must be possible to control the production variables. Number 3, it must be possible to measure the performance accurately. Variance information should be simple to be effective. Number 4, responsibility for variances must be pinpointed. Number 5, performance variance should be separated from cost variances. Now, let us come to the types of variances. Basically, the variances are divided into two: cost variances and income variances. Cost variances are further divided into material cost variance abbreviated as MCV, labor cost variance abbreviated as LCV, overhead cost variance abbreviated as overhead CV, and income variances are basically divided into two: sales value variance abbreviated as SVV and sales margin value variance abbreviated as sales margin VV. And methods of variance analysis. Number 1, equation method. Number 2, tabulation method. Friends, let me now summarize what we studied in this session. In this module, we learned about the meaning of standard cost and standard costing. We have studied the difference between standard cost and an estimated cost, as well the objects of prerequisites of standard costing, types of standards, advantages and the limitations of standard costing. We have also studied the differences between the standard costing and budgetary control. The module also covered setting up standards, types of variances and methods of variances. Thank you.